Welcome, U.S. Virgin Islands chess community. How's everybody doing today? This is Colin Heim with USVI Chess. Another video for my intermediates, integral / experts eternal guys. Welcome. Okay, so we're going to look at a game. We're just going to get right into it, guys. Again, that's what we do. We look at games, we analyze games, and when it comes down to it, we try to understand the complications of modern chess. We'll just get right into it. Welcome, U.S. Virgin Islands Chess. Again, your host, Colin Heim. I'm going to go through a game. This game was actually played by myself, and I believe someone rated around maybe 1800 in classical chess, guys. Alright, so this was a classical game. Your host, Colin with USVI Chess, had the white pieces. Okay, this is lichess.org. And you guys can actually open up an account today, free. Just type in your email, and they'll get you squared away one time with a free open source based account for LI Chess, just to kind of get you prepped for maybe tournament play if you're interested in that sort of thing, or online play. Maybe you just want to test out your skills before you go for FIDE. Stuff like that, guys. Guys and girls, let's go. Let's look right at it. E4. Okay, let's try to go no sound here. Right, media. Okay. So I started this classical game, guys, 30 minutes for each player. My opponent had black pieces, and he responded to e4 with e5. Okay, king's pawn opening so far. Knight f3, d6, the Pirch defense. Now going for this Italian game with bishop to c4, h6, and c3. Alright, guys, let's stop here and have a look at the board for a second, okay, before we proceed. For my intermediates, integral, and experts, eternals, learners, masters, expert level, intermediate level. This looks like a very passive opening for white with c3, but I'll explain in a minute why it was that I decided to play c3 in this position. I really wanted to test the waters out here to see what my opponent would do about c3 and bishop to c4. So let's get right into it, guys. Knight f6, d3 by myself, bishop e7 by my opponent, knight b to d2. The knight b to d2 here is pretty common, pretty fair, pretty well known. Just looking to get that knight now to f1, possibly get to g3. Typical kind of over the board play. There's short castles from my opponent, and then knight to f1. Bishop e6 now. And I know that my opponent with the black pieces here, girls and guys, in this position, probably looking for me to capture. But the thing is if I capture the e6 bishop now, attacking my bishop, if I capture his bishop now, he's going to capture with the f-pawn, and now he has an open file after he moves his kingside knight. So I just decided to capture on e6 anyway, and then now, after f captures, queen b3, and notice how the b2 pawn, as well as e6 now, is under attack from the queen. So in this position, what would you guys do? As black, well, you're going to have to defend something, because e6, queen e6 is also coming with check, by the way, and that would put black far behind, just to put it mildly. So anyway, guys, queen d7, defending e6, but now I went ahead and captured b2. Knight c6, so after capturing, dropping back now with queen b3. Black's going to push for the center and claim that it's dominant. All its pieces are coordinated, and things are going well. I decided to capture e takes d. E takes d from black. Bishop e3, and now king h8. King h8 is the best move by the computer analysis given. Yes, king h8 is best. But bishop to e3 for white, guys. That's actually a really bad move. Go ahead and try and find another move here for white in this position. Maybe after I give you a couple seconds. Pause the video. Try to find the best move for white in this position. What looks better here for white, guys? Girls and guys, a knight move. What actually looks best here? Yeah, it's actually best to just play a3. I know it doesn't look like much, or excuse me, h3. h3 is best because it keeps the king side, it keeps that f6 knight from making any sort of progress. So better than actually developing the bishop to the e3 square. It's not really development because it's actually setting white back a lot and creating more complications. So just h3 here, guys, making black say, okay, do you want to just push in the center? How far are you willing to go with these pawns? And then if black ends up pushing, just say a move like h3, if black just decides to push for the center there, then you can develop the bishop. However, this game went like this. I put my bishop on the e3 square, king h8, best move by my opponent. D4 now by myself, asking a question. And then my opponent not capturing, just filling that void and closing the center and also attacking my kingside knight. So maybe there was some better place to put the knight in this position. Maybe the knight could have gone to somewhere like d2 or h4. But instead I just went for knight e5 here. And now after captures and pawn captures, well, it really looks like black's doing a lot better here because now after knight g4, right now my dark square bishop is under attack and things seem to be going really, really well. This attack seems to be favoring the heck out of black. And so long castles by myself. Either a good move or not a good move. At this point, I already know that I'm worse in this particular position. So c6 now, just reinforcing d5. And then now forced to play rook to d2 here, girls and guys. Why was I forced to play rook to d2 here? Can anybody see? Well, yes, f2 is under attack by the rook on f8. Right? See the rook on f8 attacking, and this knight. That's being attacked twice. So f2 is being attacked twice. That's why in this position I lifted my rook to d2, just defending. So knight captures e3, knight captures e3, and now f2 looks really weak. Now here comes the move, guys. Black looks like in really good shape here. Black looks like he's in really good shape. Now the knight is pinned, right? This knight can't hop anywhere. The one I have my thumb on, right? Can't go anywhere because look, then I'm down the exchange. Bishop takes d2 check, and it's safe for white to resign in that position. Now what does white have to play here to basically have any chance in the game here, girls and guys? What's it going to be? What does white have to play here? Can you guys see it? Can you guys find it? Is it h4? Is it h4? No. Rook e1. Rook e1, just defending the knight now so that I'm not forced to just capture with the f-pawn. Right? So that I'm not forced to capture with the f-pawn. Okay. Bishop f4 by my opponent. Queen d1 now, saying, okay, bishop can capture. And bishop does end up capturing on the next move, well, after queen e6, just to have full attack now on that pawn, regaining possession of the center pawn. And now, queen h5 by myself, really playing desperate, kind of helpless chess here with white. And my opponent captures now on e5 with the bishop, not the queen, not offering an exchange. And then I told myself, okay, go ahead, here comes the cavalry. This is basically all I have here. This kingside knight and any kind of desperation, some sort of hopeful, wishful thinking. I really messed up my position, guys. So now what about bishop to d6 now? Evading the attack from the knight. Think about what's the best move for white here. What should white play? Right, if you guess g3, that is the right move. g3, basically getting ready to push maybe something like f4, right? So black decides to lift his kingside rook now to f5, attacking my queen. And virtually only one move for my white queen in this position, guys. Yes, it has to be h3. And in actuality, the best move here was just h5 right now with a double attack on the knight. And that probably should have been it. I'm definitely losing the knight now at that point. But my opponent just decided to attack my knight now twice, and I was forced to play f3. So right, guys, in this position, my opponent could have played h5. H5 probably would have just been winning, most likely on the spot. But then again, there's still some complications. But yeah, h5. I guess it was bad to just put the queen there on h5. But after queen d1, yeah, let's not go back too far. Let's keep going. g3, rook f5, queen h3. Now kind of giving me almost like a little break here, in a sense. Maybe h5 wasn't so recognizable. Maybe it could have led to some weaknesses there on the king side. Maybe some attack for myself. Anyway, he decides to get his queenside rook involved in the game now, everyone. Rook to d8. Queen g2. Queen g2 is actually a blunder, guys. The best move in this position is actually queen to f1. If you spotted queen to f1, yes, actually everything is defended now and white is actually in good shape. But instead, I actually blundered, and my opponent didn't recognize that he actually should not give up this exchange, should not capture the knight for the rook. I think he was over-analyzing, over-anticipating what I was doing, or what kind of position I had. The key is now, after rook takes knight, which there really wasn't any need for here. Again, my opponent very afraid of f3 and what could happen if I pushed f4, perhaps. Just sort of a really complicated position when you look at it. Anyway, my opponent here gives up the exchange, and now I have a rook for a bishop. He's actually up a pawn. So a rook for a bishop and a pawn in this sort of endgame. Okay, h3 attacking the queen now, and making another mistake, guys. h4. I made a lot of mistakes in this game with white pieces. I played a very, very poor positional game, looking for tactics, looking to sort of change things up. But anyway, find the best move here in this position for white, guys, and then we'll conclude the video here in the next 2 minutes, wrap it up, and then show the final position. But this is the critical moment of the game, and I had to come up with something that would ensure that I had good defenses here. Can you guys spot it? Okay, yes, it's actually rook from d2 to e2. Okay, and what that does is it says, okay, queen actually can't take this rook now because it's defended by the rook on e2, and that's exactly why I played it. So now my opponent captures my h4 pawn, and then now I decide to double up on the g file now. This pawn is under attack, g7 is under attack, so actually it's just threatening checkmate in one move. Queen g7 mate is the threat in this position. Queen f4 check. King is safe on b1. And just a monstrosity of a move now by my opponent. Very, very little time on the clock, by the way. I had about 4.5 minutes in this position, and my opponent had about 30 seconds or so. So time scramble. Couldn't come up with a solution, although definitely outplayed myself in this particular game. Now just doubling up on the g file, threatening now rook takes g5. If rook takes and queen takes, yeah, notice how this h-pawn, guys, can't recapture because that queen is covering that h-file, so that's impossible. It'd be an illegal move, so I have my up there. by a double attack on the g5 pawn. Okay, now he decides to defend with bishop to e7. So we see bishop to e7, and now queen e6 now, just jumping forward. Very, very little time from my opponent. I think he had about maybe 20-30 seconds on the clock. Offering an exchange of queens, queen f6, denying the exchange, attacking my rook now on g1, bishop c5, rook h1, rook f8 played by my opponent, and now just triple attack here. Everything is covered. Queen can't do me anything on f1 here, guys. My opponent's queen, that is, because it's actually covered by the queen on that diagonal as well as the rook there. So that's impossible. I have everything covered. And now just a desperate move. Probably only 5 seconds left on the clock. And go ahead and find the winning move here, guys. Press pause. Do what you got to do. It should be pretty obvious what's the winning situation here for white. Since I have 2 rooks and a queen on the h file. That machine gun going after h6 with my opponent's king right in front of h6. You guys got it. Queen captures h6 and the game ended on the spot. My opponent ran out of time, and that's a victory for Team White. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, US Virgin Islands chess community. I hope you got out of this video today. Again, I said I would stop using the word hope in my other videos. Let's just go with, you should have gotten something out of it today. This was a very deep game with many tries by myself, a lot of failed tries, a lot of failed attempts. I was lucky that my opponent granted me the liberty of a few sound misses, and I was able to convert a win with white, even though I was strategically disadvantaged for, I would say, the vast majority of the middle to the end game. Okay, guys, take care. Intermediates Integral and Experts Eternal, and we'll see everyone on the other side. Thank you guys. Bye. Have a nice day.